We're back with another episode. We're back with another episode of Britt Says. And I must say that I am definitely in a better mood these days. And I really think it is because of the weather. Like, I am truly convinced that it has to be the weather. Like, the other day, I was coming from the supermarket in my car and I was listening to Mrs. Officer by Lil Wayne, even though I don't know, is he canceled or not canceled no more, because technically he just promoted Trump to get a I forgot what that thing is called, basically not go to jail. But anyway, and I was just like jamming, like I was just listening to the radio, listening to music, and I was just having fun. Like, I just been feeling like more we talk about seasonal depression on this podcast. Yes, we did. You guys have to just get on board with Britt Says. You have to. We talk about so much amazing things. So definitely go check that episode out. I will link it in the bio. I guess I should. But yeah, I definitely feel a different pick-me-up from just, you know, the weather. I assume it's the weather. I mean, not much has changed in my life lately, so I don't know. I just love the sun. I'm even filming a little later today. I hope the sun don't go down, but I checked to see when the sun is gonna go down. It says it's gonna go down at 6, so I should be okay. But yeah, it's been an alright week. It's been an okay week. Let me see if I did anything unique this week. Did I do anything unique this week? I feel like I did or I didn't. No, I think actually I had a regular week. I'm going out to eat with my friend Erica today. Actually, I'm hanging out with my friends, seeing my friends. I'm here for that. Hopefully, I'll be seeing people soon. You know, they got the vaccine coming. The vaccine is here. Biden wants everyone to hopefully have it by July 4th so we can have independence from the pandemic or COVID by July 4th. So we might be having to get backed up. Y'all finna get backed up. I see a lot of black people still kind of scared of it. Me, you know, I have my own thoughts on it. Like, I'm not scared, but I'm not in the mood. Like, I just, it's a lot. I won't get too in detail, but it's just a lot. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I have that going on. I'm sorry if you guys hear noise, because I don't know. I think they like fixing a car on the street or something, child. You know how that go. But yeah, it's been an okay week. Feeling the weather, like I said. Nothing crazy I think has happened this week. Child, the Meghan Markle, honey, and the Prince Harry, honey. Shit. I ain't gonna front. I was so surprised that whatchamacallit, I was so surprised that the reason why they were leaving the palace was because of racism, and she just felt like she wasn't being treated fairly. Like, I know I'm not just one of the only people who was like shocked by that. Like I was like, that's why you leaving, sis? Like, I didn't know that. Like, I couldn't believe that it was deeper than what we thought. I thought they just didn't want no parts in that lifestyle of, which is in hindsight the same, but I just thought they just didn't want to be royals. They didn't want to be princesses and and princesses and princes or whatever the hell they got going on. Like, I literally thought that's what it was, and it's just crazy that they was dealing with that. I didn't even want to comment. I was like, ugh, I was just draining. Like, Meghan Markle, y'all mad over a Meghan Markle bitch? Really? Like, Meghan Markle look about as white as a damn, I don't even know what. But they didn't even want to inch a quarter a pint of black, honey. And they're gonna say how dark is the baby gonna come out. I was just like, I don't know. I ain't fucking with the UK. But where's they at? Britain. I hope I'm not wrong. Sometimes I say stuff wrong. You bear with me, bitch. But I ain't fucking with them, period. Like, that shit was frightening. I was like, Jesus, it's the racism for me. I mean, you gotta expect those things to happen anyway, that somebody was gonna eventually fall for a black person. I just feel like, in a weird way, no matter what, eventually things just get black. Like, I feel like eventually, no matter what, one day a prince was going to marry somebody black. Like, something black always happens. It's just so many of us that, you know, it was inevitable. Like, it's inevitable. It's so inevitable. Like, I don't know. So I was just really stunned by that, you know, that I was stunned that that was why they was leaving the palace, or whatever the case may be, because it's not that deep. Like, I don't know, I ain't fucking with them, I know that. If they was really giving it up like that, I believe her, I stand by her. And I was so happy that Prince Harry really stood by her, because in a way it's like he kind of like turned on his family, if you think about it. And it's just like, it's beautiful that he kind of like stood with his wife. And I know a lot of y'all like, that's his job, but not every man would do that, you know. Or and it's not easy to, you know, turn on your family. I don't want to say turn, because I don't want to make it sound so cringy, but I mean, it's true. Like, he stood up with his wife, you know what I'm saying? Like, his wife basically snitched on the palace, in which his family is in, and he kind of was like, all right, you know, because you know what I think it is too? That's the mother of his kids at the end of the day. And then it's like, you disrespecting my child, now I feel some type of way. Now I'm feeling a little froggy and I might have to lick. You feel me? But yeah, I mean, hey, it is what it is. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about that. Like, I mean, I'm like one of those people, like, I feel like everybody's in this like big, like this big frenzy over it, and I'm just kind of like really laxed. Not in the terms of like, I get racism and all that, but I just feel like, like, I don't know. I'm just weird with that whole prince and princesses thing and all that stuff. And speaking of princes and princesses and princes and queens and kings, last week I spoke on Coming to America, and I just want to make it clear, because I was saying African culture. I know that a lot of people don't like, well, mostly people in the African community don't like when we use the term African, but Zamunda is a fictional place, so I don't know what culture they were trying to embrace. I don't know if they were trying to embrace Nigerian culture, Ghanaian culture, Kenyan culture, South African culture, Gambian culture. I don't know. Sierra Leone. I don't know. I don't know who they were trying to portray. That's why I said African culture. And I can't pinpoint which culture, because we don't know. It like I said, it was fictional. And some people could say, look, because it was fictional, maybe that culture they tried to portray was mishmashy and tacky. I don't know. But I just want to make that clear, you know, that I'm very privy to. There are many different arrays of Africa and different people. My husband is Nigerian, and he educates me too much on the African culture, the African diaspora. Like, I know too much about Nigerian culture. Not only Nigeria, I get to learn about Ghanaians, and even in Nigeria they have Igbo and Yoruba and all these things and different languages, and I'm like, my head is like combusted with the different parts of Africa. Trust me, we watch YouTube videos about the different foods. Like, I want to go to Nigeria so bad. Like, I want to go to so many different places in Africa. Just dating someone African, it really gets you more in tune with your culture, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there and just make that very clear that I am very, very in tune with what to say and what not to say. Period. Okay. What else did I watch? I watched the Mano and Mr. C interview actually last night, and it was really good. Like, despite everything that hit the news, obviously, was him talking about dating transgender women. But in general, like, y'all need to watch that interview. Like, not just about him talking about dating transgender women. The whole interview was dope. Like, he talked about just being in the music industry, how he discovered Biggie. Did you know that? We all thought P. Diddy did it and Mr. C did it. Like, him and Mr. C was mad cool. Biggie and Mr. C was mad cool. And I was just like, wow. Like, he was so big in the hip-hop culture and stuff like that. So it was a dope interview. And Mano, child. I love me some Mano. Isn't that funny? I was just talking about Mano. His pod, I didn't know he had a pod. It's called Kitchen Table Talk, I want to say. I know it's some kitchen table something, but you could definitely check out the interview. Just type in like Mano and Mr. C. But yeah, he was very, to me, I would say, influential in hip hop. He got a lot of good dope music from like the 80s, 90s. I was in the house like bumping because it was kind of lit. That was a good interview. As it pertains to Mano, child. Mano, I told y'all in the last pod, he is just a Brooklyn, like, he is just a New York nigga. Like, he was just giving me, he was frightening me because the way he was talking. He was like, oh my God. He was saying to Mr. C, he was like, so you like fucking niggas that dress like girls. I'm like, you know what? But you know what's so funny? And I mean, some people might criticize me for this, but I kind of enjoyed that behavior. And not in a sense, I'm very aware that what he was saying was ignorant as fuck. But what I enjoyed about it was the nostalgia of it, of just somebody who's just blatantly talking how they want to talk and saying what they want to say. And in the moment, you know, Mr. C was trying to educate him, but he was just saying things how he wanted to say it. And such an unapologetic way. Was it ignorant? Yes. Like, he called a block in Brooklyn mook. Mook is like a word that they use for like gay men and things like that or whatever. And I just enjoy, I just want to make it clear, I know he was being ignorant. He cannot call transgendered women or men niggas in dresses. You cannot say that. You cannot. So don't think about it. But I just enjoyed that he was just being himself. Like, he was just, he could get in trouble. Thank God Mano was more, he was more on a lower level of a hip-hop artist. He might get held accountable for it, I'm not sure. But I don't think people is really like checking for him. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was kind of, I enjoyed him just talking like that, you know what I'm saying? I hope he is, when he says those things though, that he is aware of learning that what he should and should not say. And not only that, if he's saying those things, are you saying it to just be ignorant, or you really feel that way? Do you really feel that transgendered women are men in dresses? And the reason why I say that is because you can't just be saying shit to be ignorant. If you're going to say something, you got to have, to me, especially something that's serious, a theoretical reason as to why you're saying that. And not just because you like my nigga, because that's just how I feel. You know how niggas be acting like that. But yeah, so those are the things I watched this week. I literally watched that interview last night. I definitely recommend it. If you like hip-hop to a certain extent, I think it's a dope interview. I do. And I'm not talking about just why it made the headlines. Obviously, that's why I clicked on it. But then when I sat and watched the whole interview, I was like, oh, okay, Mr. C is kind of dope or whatever. And he was just so unapologetically saying, yeah, I still dabble with transgendered trans people. I don't, you know, he said it. And I was just here for everything. Just the whole interview itself was just like a lot. And it was dope. And I fuck with it. So I definitely think that's something y'all should check out. That's something I checked out this week. And yeah. So this week, what will we be talking about? So this week we'll be talking about perception and assumptions. And at first I was gonna say perception. Perception is such a big topic, believe it or not. Perception is really something that's really studied and really important in psychology and things like that. And I know a lot about that because, you know, I've been doing some studies. And when I learned about deeply into perception, but I won't be doing that on the pod because this is not a science class. We're not doing that. I was like, yo, perception is low-key, high-key, scientifically proven to be so true. It's so real. It's been so many tests and studies, even though they like to say never say proven. I heard lately you're not supposed to use that term. I forgot the term you should use. But yeah, perception is such a thing that is shown to be real, you know, that it exists. Because you know how some things we say, but do we believe it? Is it true? Is it really real? You know what I'm saying? Like, are these things that we just made up as time went on? And with perception, it's a real thing or whatever. But I wanted to talk about perception in such a way, and assumption, because I feel like they align, about how we got to be careful how we do perceive people or assume of people to be, because I just think it's just detrimental to people's mental health, number one. I think that it's also just ignorant, talking about being ignorant, what a segue. And I think sometimes we're not often aware of how we think. Perception can sometimes often be correlated with your life and your upbringing. So I feel like sometimes people like to perceive people a certain way just because of the things that they have picked up in their life. And I don't think that's fair. But, you know, I don't want to jump all the way into the topic. You know, before most topics, what do we like to do? Expand our minds. Expand your mind, expand your mind, expand your mind. So, in an article on darlingmagazine.org titled How to Make Peace with Others' False Perception of You. So let me read. How do you let go of that concern? How to let the comments I hear from others go has been a huge lesson I have been learning lately. Sometimes we are unable to get proper closure for some personal and professional relationships, which can leave them open for someone to interpret us in a negative way that may not be accurate. Maybe the acquaintance's view of you stems from a time they interacted with you when you were having a bad day, when you didn't come across well to them. Since this isn't someone you know well or see often, there's no way for them to clarify their perception of you. How do you feel with others' negative perceptions of you when the relationship isn't close enough to just talk it out and sort through the problems they might mistakenly have with you? This is not a who's right or who's wrong situation. The first thing you have to realize is that it's a trap to think you can fix another person's perception of you. You don't have to have a discussion with someone about whether or not they have the right perception of you. You just have to have the confidence in yourself and who you are. After all, not everyone will be like everyone. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. One of the top things I want to talk about with perception and assumption, and why the topic was brought up, is because one thing I noticed, and I do it, and I think a lot of us do it, is that we kind of try to make correlations with our life to other people. So, and then we know that people are thinking this way of us, and we kind of like let it bother us and just trickle down into our head. And like, you know, they said in the article, we can't really allow those things to bother us, because you got to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? And if you know who you are, you know what your situation is. It's just what it is, no matter what a person thinks about you or whatever the case may be. But I also do want to bring up the fact that motherfuckers just can't be walking around creating storylines of people's life and perceptions of people, and they don't really have a backstory on that, or they're just creating nicks and crannies and pieces of things they see online or something you said or you did. And I say that because I know too, just even with this podcast, people like to take nooks and crannies of things I say or do on the pod, and they like to be like, oh, this might be going on. Like, for instance, last week's topic. Oh, this might be going on in this person's life. It's like, look, I could come up here and talk about relationship stuff. Do me and family have a bad day or a bad week? Fuck yeah. But do we have good weeks and good days? Hell motherfucking yeah. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean a relationship is crumbling or anything like that. You know, people like to make so many perceptions. I'm big on that. I do that a lot. I just want to say that. And I'm trying to learn to stop doing that because I don't know people. And I'm going to tell y'all exactly why I wanted to talk about this topic. Number one, because I was learning about perception. But then I thought about it on a bigger scheme in two different ways. But one of those ways I won't talk about because that's too big of an idea. But anyway, the other day, I went out with my mother to... Why did we go out? Oh, I needed to pick up the... What's that stuff called? What's the word for that? Body wash, mouthwash, toothpaste, all that good stuff. I forgot what that's called. I'm getting tight. But anyway, I picked up all of that stuff, but I picked it up from BJ's. I like to buy my stuff big and in bundles because it just lasts longer and it just saves you time from going to the store or whatever. And we did it the first time we moved here and it just ran out. Like all that stuff I bought just ran out. And we moved here in July. So I was like, definitely got to do that again. But she got the BJ's card link up. So I had to pull up. So while we were there, when it was time to check out, there was a guy there and we were doing self-checkout. And the self-checkout was acting kind of funny. And the guy was with his mom or somebody he was in a relationship with. I thought it was his mother because she looked kind of older than him. My mother said she did ask his girlfriend. I'm just like, girl. Anyway, so he was getting kind of mad. He was getting aggressive. Like, he was like, yo, y'all going mad hard. Think niggas is stealing. Like, this shit is stupid. Like, do y'all job. Like, help us fix the thing. Like, we trying to check out and shit acting funny. Granted, y'all know very well I worked at retail, so I just hate when people be fucking up on the self-checkout. Like, that should be blowing my high. But what I will say was the checkout at BJ's that day was shaky. Like when you was putting a certain amount of stuff on the conveyor belt, it would say stop. Take all your stuff off the conveyor belt. And the issue with that, I don't know why they do that. I don't know why. The issue with that though is you get confused as to what you scanned and what you didn't scan. So it was like you got to take all your shit off the conveyor belt and then continue scanning the other stuff. So it was just stupid. So I don't know if it was something wrong with the checkout or if that was their intent. But anyway, this guy, he was just being very aggressive. He was African American, and he was giving a little hood. You feel me? But this is my thing. So then my mother was like, "Oh my God, he is crazy. He probably be abusing her." Da da da. And I was like, "I need you to stop." And let me tell you why. I know now. I want to be clear. He could have been abusive for all I fucking know. You know, he could be abusive. He could be crazy, and you could be right. But my thing is like you don't really know nobody's situation. You don't really know what nobody's going through, and you don't really know why people act like that. He could just because he's acting angry because he's frustrated that the conveyor belt or whatever the fuck the shit is acting crazy, and he's getting attitude, and he dresses a certain way. It doesn't mean he's abusive. Or I mean, he might be a little crazy, but you know, it doesn't mean that. People forget to think about people's life, people's upbringing, people's situation, and I'm so big on that because if sometimes people just take the time to think about what this person may or may not have been through, maybe things could be handled differently. You get what I'm saying? Instead of creating a perception or placing a certain thing, a certain idea on somebody. And the thing that pisses me off with black people doing that is because y'all get mad when the police perceive a black man as abusive or he's gonna shoot me or he's gonna kill me, but y'all do the same shit every day to a black man. You get what I'm saying? And the reason why I said that was because I told my mother, like, I feel like you don't know if he's abusive. Maybe this is a trigger for him. Maybe he's so used to, like, you know how like sometimes people get frustrated when things are not working right? Like maybe he started feeling some type of way that the lady had to keep coming and checking on them. Especially as black men, whenever they go somewhere, sometimes people automatically think they stealing, especially when you dress a certain way or look a certain way. And so, or maybe he did go to jail before and he went to jail for stealing and he didn't even steal at some point. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. Or maybe he's upset because he just feel like people think he's dumb because the person has to keep coming back to his conveyor belt. Well, it's not that serious. Maybe you just, maybe your shit is fucked up. It's so many varieties. It could be a deeper reason why he's getting so angry, and it doesn't correlate with him being abusive. And I just get annoyed that we like to like kind of put labels on people, not just men, but all of us in general. another thing I was thinking about too is like just perception and it all stems back to thinking about, and I understand that it's so hard for us to do that, right? But this is something that we've been talking about all year. Just try to be mindful, try to be caring. You don't know what nobody's going through. Some things like too, and I'm going to talk about the black man. You know why? Because I often do bash the black man, you know, in the podcast prior, because y'all motherfuckers do be fucking up. Y'all be pissing me the fuck off. But being I would say long term. No, this is still young. I'm sorry. 3 years, please. That's like cheese. Being with Femi and actually getting to talk and think and just everything I've been through, and now I'm so analytical and so psychological all the time, and just being like on this podcast, allows me to think. I remember the first time he said something to me, and he was just like, first of all, I've been through my own things, so I move differently. So one day, I don't know if my cousin or my friends, they invited me somewhere and I didn't want to go. I just didn't want to go. But I was doing it a lot, and I wasn't knowledgeable of the fact that I was like not going places a lot. Like when people would invite me or whatever. But then he kind of like was like, oh, Brittany, I want you to go out because I don't want people to think that I'm controlling you or that I'm telling you you can't go places. And I was just like, what? Like, in my head, I was thinking like, oh, wow, I never thought about that. Because I just simply don't want to go no fucking where. Like, bitch, I've been through some shit. Like, I'm tired. I don't want to go to your fucking event. Like, I don't want to go outside. I don't want to engage with people. I just don't feel social. Like, I'm not the same Brittany I was prior to the things I've been through. And I just don't like going outside like that. Or whatever the case may be. So then when he brought that up, it made me think like, one, a little bit, I felt like, damn, now he make me kind of want to go. And then I was kind of thinking like, well, I don't give a fuck what people think. We know what's going on in our households. You feel me? And I also think that goes back to a little bit of narcissism too, is that when people feel like, oh, she usually go out somewhere, now she don't never go nowhere because she with her nigga, I feel like her nigga be controlling her. That's some narcissistic shit. Because, bitch, did you ever think maybe she just don't want to be around you? Like, you catch my drift? Like, why are you automatically trying to bash the person in a relationship? And those things happen a lot in relationships too, where people like to make it seem like their man is telling them they can't do this A, B, C, and D, when it really just be you. Like, I just don't want to go nowhere. And when he said that, I was thinking about, damn, not only how could that impact me, but how could that impact him psychologically? You get what I'm saying? And I noticed he does that. I wouldn't say a lot, but enough. And I'm just thinking like, damn, that's probably like a thing that comes with just being a man in general. Like, you gotta kind of like just think of the way people perceive you because you're a black man, even in a relationship. Another instance too, and I didn't want to like, I'm gonna bring up two, maybe a few. I could bring up a few actually. Another instance, Femi. Now I'm talking what's this bitch. I call him slow to warm. Y'all know how they use that term for kids? That's how Femi is. He's very slow to warm. Like, it's ridiculous. And I would say he's shy. He's just not shy around me, but obviously he would be shy around me. So he was just saying like, he feel like when he come around, he's quiet. And he feels like he doesn't want people to think that he's quiet and that usually then when he comes home he's like this crazy person. And I'm like, Femi, you starting to get on my nerves, cause you know what, man, they really be acting like they don't care about shit, but it appears that you care about shit. Like, you get what I'm saying? And it's just like, for me, I can't do but so much. Like, I only could be Brittany, and I understand that you kind of like trying to create this vision or idea for people, and not only can I only be Brittany, you only could be Femi. If you want to be quiet, if you feel shy, if you feel introverted, and you don't want to talk around my family or friends, or you don't want to go places, you don't have to fucking go. I'm big on that. I'm keen on that. That's one thing I'm really big on, is that if a person don't feel comfortable going somewhere or being somewhere, I'm not gonna force you to go nowhere. Period. Like, I'm not doing that. I don't feel like that's appropriate. If you don't want to go somewhere, you don't want to do something, you don't have to go. whether people think it's rude or not. And another thing my mother was telling me too, like, she was like, you know what, growing up, not growing up, I shouldn't say growing up, or back in the day, your father will always tell me, like, I had to go everywhere that he was going. I had to go everywhere with his family. Meaning, like, with him. Like, let's say, like, his family threw a fucking dinner. She had to go. Or whatever the case may be. And in our family, well, me and my brother don't really act like that. Or whatever. Like, a lot of times, his wife doesn't come over to the house when our parents throw stuff. Or whatever the case may be. And, for me, I just feel like she don't want to be around. She don't want to be around. Like, I personally, like I said, I just believe, like, if I want to go somewhere, I shouldn't have to go nowhere, period. And so, now, I'm going to say, you know, she said that she always had to go somewhere. Like, my father was big on that. Like, it just don't look good that you not coming. Like, it just doesn't look good. So, she went everywhere. Anytime a family event happened, she went. And I said, that's why y'all motherfuckers is crazy. Because y'all, not to say that my father's family is crazy. I don't know. Like, you know how those be having their own shit. Not to say, she said she didn't mind because she loves the Lingards. The Lingards, that's my last name is Lingard. That's my father's family, obviously. And I'm just like, some people don't love they spouse's family like that. Like, sometimes they spouse's family could be annoying. Maybe they just don't want to leave. Maybe they don't want to put on fucking clothes. And I think that's a lot of reasons why that generation is mad fucking annoying. Because y'all be dealing with shit y'all don't want to deal with. Period. And I could get both spectrums because it don't look good sometimes. Like, I remember being like, it's kind of weird that they didn't come. And then also, it impacts the family dynamics. Because I told her too, straight up. Like, I told my mother straight the fuck up. Like, honestly, Femi, he kind of gets in his bag. Femi works, you know, evening time. So sometimes my parents want to do stuff. Femi's working. He cannot show up. So, and he'll be like, oh, I feel bad that I can't make it. And I'll be like, don't feel bad because my brother wife don't be going places. So I was like, yeah, some of those things can impact. And that's maybe because my brother's older than me. I feel like he doing it so I could do it too. So it does impact certain dynamics and certain family trends. I get that. Like, if one person do it, everybody feel like they could do it. And then eventually it could kill the family dynamic. I get that aspect too. Like, maybe now our kids won't be as family orientated because we don't feel that need to be as family orientated because we're so focused on mental health. Does that make sense? Like, if we keep up these behaviors when we procreate, our kids won't even feel the need to plan family gatherings maybe, or they're gonna be like, oh, they won't just show up or stuff like that. So I think about it in that sense too, but I don't know. And then I'm also big on certain things too. I think people should show up to, like, certain events I do, even if you stay for an hour or two, but then people be like, oh, if I stay for an hour or two, they're gonna be like, I'm rude. And it's just like, you could do but so much, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, he talks so much about how people will perceive him. And I get it because and I was thinking about that, it's just being a man, and I'm gonna say black men in general. Those are big allegations to put on somebody too. Because it's one thing I can understand, it's like you worried about people thinking you weird or something. That's silly. But for somebody to think you're controlling or you're abusive, those are big allegations, and it is hurtful. And I never thought of it that way until, you know, I had time to sit down and think about it. Like, yo, that's kind of like fucked up. Like, to kind of put those type of allegations on a person. Like, and not even sit down and think to yourself, like, maybe she or he is not coming around you because they just don't fucking want to. You catch my drift? Like, sometimes I don't call people as much as I used to. I don't text people as much as I used to. And I would hope, and I know, that the people around me are smart enough to know that I went through something, and that's the reason why I'm moving the way I move. It's not because of no fucking Femi. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I would hope. But for me, I don't give a fuck. For Femi, he probably does care. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure if he cares or not. He act like it, for sure. He's like, you know, and I don't want to bring that situation up, but I'm really close to thinking about bringing it up. I remember when I went to the hospital or whatever, and you know, with a placental abruption, one of the reasons why they happen is either if you're on drugs, definitely not on drugs, and if you get into like a car accident or somebody like punch you in your stomach, stuff like that, you fall down the stairs, some crazy shit. or you have preeclampsia, which I had. So when we went to the hospital, one of the first things they asked me was like, what happened? Did you fall? You know, these things usually happen when somebody gets punched in the stomach. Like, they were trying to infer, like, was it something abusive, until they eventually found out my blood pressure was mad high, like, or whatever. And I was thinking about, at the time, I really didn't care, but I didn't think about how it could have impacted him. He would say, people thought I did this and people thought I did that. And I would just brush it off. Like, I didn't care, but we don't think about how those things impact people. Like, we really don't. Like, those are real allegations, like, or just saying that a person is a certain type of way. That's called defamation of character. Like, and then he started to think, you know, that people felt this way about him and my family. Like, I'm like, the doctor's a doctor, so they're gonna think that, but my family is not gonna think that. They know the facts. Like, they was there. Like, I could not leave until my blood pressure went down to like 130 over something. I can't remember. They was like, we ain't letting you out of here. Like, I'm like, for me, they know. But I'm just bringing up that type of stuff because I just really don't like that we constantly kind of try to create these narratives and these storylines of what's going on in people's lives and these perceptions. And a lot of times I really believe that people do it because those are things that they are dealing with. Like, I know it's a lot of times people, it could be from experience. Perception can be based off of experience, which is fair. And that's why I was kind of scared to like dwell into this topic too, because sometimes you can be right. Sometimes your friend might be with a nigga that's crazy, and I don't know how to navigate that and pick that. But you need to just like figure out, okay, what has changed in this person's life. Have you asked this person, are they okay? Do you say everything good with you? I just feel like you've been moving differently, and see what they say. Like, just ask. Do a mental health check, bitch. Like, ask, and people will tell. Like, I've been in situations where I ask, like, how you been? You good? Everything good with you? And blah 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 blah. And then they eventually start spitting tea. Like, they start telling the truth. Like, look, this is what's been going on in my house. This is what's been going on. Da da da. And now you know the truth. Or now you know, okay, X, Y, and Z is going on. Actually, that's happened several times. I have people I wrote and I'll be like, everything good with you? And it don't be nothing with their relationship. They'll be like, me and my mother is going through something right now. And we haven't talked in months. And I'm upset about it. So now you thought that this bitch nigga was fucking her up. Meanwhile, her and her mother beefing over some shit. And they ain't talk to her mother in a month. Or they talk to their father in a month. Or somebody they care about. Or they having beef with their best friend, and that's why they've been down. It be the weird, well, I won't say weird, because those things are not weird, but it be crazy shit, or it could be something crazy. I lost my job, I ain't tell nobody, and this is why I've been moving funny. So you done created this whole fucking narrative. You made up this whole fucking perception of this person because of your past experiences, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like a lot of times too, motherfuckers be doing that. Like, even I could talk about perception in so many instances. I remember I felt like people thought I was moving funny, like I was broke, I had no money, but I was like saving up for a car and stuff like that. I was planning on moving out, but I didn't tell anybody. And no one's you're not obligated to tell anybody what you're doing. If you want to move funny, by all means, move funny. Like, you get what I'm saying? And so people create these perceptions. Like, did you ever think to ask, like, how's work? How's this? How's that? What you got planned? What you got going on? Da da da. And maybe that person might tell you. Like, you don't know. Like, people be having their own financial problems and then want to push those financial problems on other people. People have had, they may not be having a bad relationship now, or maybe have bad past relationships, and then want to push that narrative on you and create this perception of you. And a lot of people is not knowledgeable that they be doing that shit. Like, you kind of trying to push your life onto me. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're creating this perception of me based off of what? Like, and I just really want people to stop doing that and just start being caring. And I guess basically just maybe we should just all communicate with each other more. And a lot of times too, I had to say that the other day. Like, I wanted to like approach something. Then I had an epiphany, like, pretty, you can't force nothing on nobody. You get what I'm saying? Like, things will either get better or they won't. Like, you can't really force nothing on nobody, or whatever the case may be. Sometimes you just gotta take it for what it is. Like, if somebody is moving differently, I mean, you could try to see And if they don't feel like talking about it, you just gotta let it go. Like, it's not that deep. Like, obviously check in as much as you can, do what you can, but you do sometimes have to come to terms with the fact that, you know, maybe this is the end of this. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe it's not the end. Maybe this person is just going through a moment. Can you ride out? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, worry about yourself. And stop creating perceptions and areas. Though, let me step back, because I think it's important. You can't have that conversation to tell somebody stop creating narratives, but also not talk about not caring what people think. Right? That's one of the hardest things to do, is not care about what people think. We have to be able to say, look, I know what I'm dealing with. I know what's going in my house. I know what I'm doing. I know what we're doing. I know how we moving. I know how I'm moving. And that's what's important, is that you know the truth. You know your truth. You know your narrative. You know your story. Whether or not people want to create one or not. That's hard to do. I'm not going to sit up here and try to act like that shit is easy, because it's not. It's not easy to know your truth and still want other people to know your truth. That shit is hard as fuck. Like, I ain't gonna sit up here and try to act like that's easier, not easier said than done. It is easier said than done. I mean, I'm trying to think of ways you can really not care about what people think of you or feel about you. It's no real way. Like, there's no real way. It's just like, you just gotta not care. Like, I swear, like, I'm just thinking about it. Like, there's no real way. Just not care. And eventually too, you become old news, yesterday's paper. Like, people will stop worrying about you. People will stop thinking about you. People will stop caring about you. You'll be quiet for so long. People not even thinking about how you moving and why you moving and what you doing and why you grooving the way you moving. So that's another way to get over it. It's like, all right, they created a narrative about me today. By maybe next week, maybe a couple of months, they'll be over me and whatever the fuck I got going on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's hard to not care about what people think. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Like, people like to say, stop worrying about what people think, but it's not easy. And I don't think that's often discussed. It's like, a lot of people like to say, I don't give a fuck about what people think. I say that a lot too, because in some ways I don't, but in some ways I do. Yeah, sometimes I do care, you know. It's not easy. It's not easy because, you know, you do want people to have a dope perception of you or look at you in a way where they think you're amazing, and, you know, just, you want people to think you're cool, you're great. I don't know. I was gonna say idolize you. You don't want nobody to idolize you. Idolizing you is not a good word. Idolizing is not good in general. But yeah, you do want people to look at you in such a way where they feel like she's really that girl. You know what I'm saying? But it can't always be done. A lot of consequences come with that. People thinking that you're perfect as well, because then by the time you fuck up, then people will be like, oh my god, I thought she was so perfect. She tried to portray herself like she was so perfect. I never tried to do anything. You did that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's not easy. Nobody said it was gonna be easy. What can you do? What can you do, honestly? What can you really, really do? You can't do so much. So, I don't know. It's no real way. But I do think we need to start making assumptions. What's the quote? Assumptions? Where you make assumptions, you make an ass out of you and me. And ain't that the fucking truth? You making an ass out of your damn self by creating that lie. You making an ass out of me because you're making a false narrative of me. The fuck? And I also just feel like we need to just stop trying to push our lives onto other people. Like, don't. That's a key takeaway. Don't create narratives about anyone without facts. The only people I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it, you could do that as eligible to be done to is celebrities. I'm sorry, because First of all, celebrities put their whole life on the internet and they make it so easy for you to put two and two together. It's like so ridiculous. And I think that comes a part of that job. Like, their life is a job, unfortunately. So it just comes with the job. But normal day citizens, we don't deserve that. Okay? Like, we don't deserve that. Stop creating fucking narratives. The next time somebody bring up something to you and they say something, say, do you have fact of that? Where are you basing that off of? Because people be wilding. Like, people be making up shit and they be wild. Like, it be really wild. For real. For real. And they don't be even have no fact or truth to it. Like, it should be wild. Like, I don't like that. Like, for real. People, and then we be really running with the storyline. So, yeah, we just got to be careful of what we say about people. Like, we could bring up things like, if you feel like you got, like, like, cause we all like to gossip a little bit. If you feel like you got like nice little pieces, but your receipts gotta be heavy. I'm big on receipts. Like, they gotta be heavy. You are so heavy, baby. Why would I sing Dreamgirls? But your receipts gotta be kind of heavy. Like, cause sometimes if you got a good amount of receipts to prove your case, all right, you might be on something. But some of y'all just be making up shit like, she ain't call me today. Her nigga punched in her face. Like, bitch, if you don't sit the fuck down, like, she ain't call you today because she ain't fucking felt like it. Like, I need receipts. Like, bitch. Like, for real. Like, for real. Like, deadass. I need backup stories and all that. Like, and you gotta think back. Because I remember, too, I was trying to figure out, like, why somebody was, like, moving a certain way, and then I eventually found out of I don't want to say a secret. I don't like secrets. I like secrets, but you know what I mean. I don't like saying it. I eventually found out something about that person, and then I realized that's why they were behaving the way they were behaving. So we don't be knowing a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? So you don't be knowing a lot of shit about a lot of people, and they be crazy until those things eventually hit the streets or whatever. So yeah, I hope this episode is not short. I feel like it's short and it's pissing me off. Like, I thought I was gonna go lamb, jam on this episode, but I guess I was so ready to talk about the topic that I kind of like nipped it in so quickly. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. You know, it was quick, but it was to the point, and I find it to be very important. I hope it's something we carry on into our lives. We can try to be a little more caring, try to be like, maybe this person's acting this way because of a trigger or a thing, instead of saying this person is this. Like, don't say this person is this. Think maybe this is why this person is acting this way. Don't just because you see somebody do something say this is who this person is, because you don't know what people are going through, and that's just that on that. But if you made it to the end of this video, if you made it to the end of this episode, I should say, definitely comment, like, subscribe. Britt Says on YouTube. If you're listening, streaming, definitely 5 stars, leave a review. What else? I have something to say. Follow me on Instagram _Brittstagram. And then it's one more thing I'm gonna try to do. It's another thing I'm gonna try to do. Hit the like, hit the share bell. Just listen to Britt Says, you know, share. I always forget to say it. Make sure you share, okay, people? If you listen to this podcast, make sure you send a share link. Say, yo, this girl's mad funny, this girl's mad wag, this girl talks too much shit. Send the link, boo. Send the link. Share. Say, hey, you should definitely listen to this. You get what I'm saying? So yeah. And with that being said, I will see you guys when next week.